things that we can do and where we can actually communicate with each other, each in our little empty rooms here where we sit all by ourselves and cough. But there you go. And we're together going to have a general look at the digital challenge and EU policies. And we're going to hear a little bit in detail about how universities can participate in different programs, and then we can have a different a general discussion. So we have with us two speakers who are working exactly on those issues. We have David Oliver-Riebe from the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, which might be a well-known initiative that has been with us for a couple of years. And then we have Silvia Merizio from the European Commission, who is working on a new and exciting program called Digital Europe that will hopefully kick off in 2021. So I just, from the beginning, apologize if there are any technical issues that might occur. The internet is very clogged at the moment with people doing webinars and doing Skype meetings and video conferences, but we hope and it seems that everything works out. So we'll begin with letting you, the participants, set the scene, and just do as a small poll here. We have 3 questions. I'll just begin to launch it. And you have to scroll down to see all the questions. It's about how the digital transformation has changed or influenced your institution. You'll note that there is no other option, but you're always welcome to use the chat to write an extra comment, to write something else, and give comments to what is going on, also questions. Please be aware that this webinar is recorded and it will be posted on our YouTube channel afterwards, which is a good thing. And if you want to go and see our YouTube channel, there are loads of other webinars, there's loads of other goodies, interviews. You can subscribe, and we'd of course be very happy for you to do that. So I suppose the survey is on. Is it? I might have help tech support here. This is one of the glitches that happen when you can't have tech support in the room. Okay, I'm told that everything is okay. It's just because I can't see it. So we'll continue with a small presentation about how the digital transformation looks from the European University Association. What are the issues and what are the things we see with it? Clearly, the digital transformation is a top priority for Europe. What we hear from the European Commission, from Ursula von der Leyen, that has made this one of the big issues, is we have the digital transformation. There are all these things happening, but it must work for all. Everybody must be part of this, and it cannot lead to exclusion of certain groups around Europe. It's also about technological sovereignty, that Europe should be able to rely on its own technological abilities in this transformation and retain its competitiveness. If we look at it from universities, it's a much longer story, and many of you will be able to remember that about a decade ago we had the MOOCs, let's say the MOOCs hype. there were these massive online open courses, and the idea was that this was going to be a revolution in provision. You had big, cheap courses that would change everything. We did a reality check on it a couple of years after it started, and it's a good addition to other forms of learning. It's part of a much broader change of learning and teaching. Then much closer to now, short time ago, we began really to talk about artificial intelligence. And one of these discussions is, if machines can do many things, many more things, and do them much better, how is this going to affect labor markets, and are universities ready to prepare our graduates for this? Then there are things about artificial intelligence in education. That could be learning analytics, for instance. And then there is AI-driven innovation. So some of the questions that we've launched through the poll. If we look at the labor markets, there's much talk about digital skills, and I suppose we'll hear more about that later as well. There's a continuous reporting and a continuous worry about a skills gap, that graduates come out of universities, but companies have difficulty of finding the kind of people that they want. It's very difficult to know what this actually is. At least we're not really, also in our discussions with industry, clear about, does this mean, is there a need for data specialists? Is there a need for lawyers that are able to contest what artificial intelligence does in terms of decisions in public administration? Or is this factory workers that need to work with connected machines? We actually don't know much about that. If you just look at what universities can do in terms of providing different digital skills, there are of course different levels. One is the ICT specialists, and they're educated at universities, the data specialists, the programmers, these people that really drive the technological development. Then there are those that are working with closely with artificial intelligence, and that would be lawyers. I mentioned this example before. There's a lot of artificial intelligence applied to the law practice. Also medicine, where you have a lot of diagnostics, you have a lot of use of artificial intelligence in medicine, and you need to be aware of that. But there's a large amount of graduates where we know they will be able to use digital tools for what they do, and they need to be aware of them, but we can't say what they're going to do exactly. So it's a question of general awareness. So these are sort of the three levels that we work with. If we look more about the skills gap and employment, we can see some of the problem. Yes, we need more people that can program and are data specialists. But if you look here, this is some OECD figures for a couple of years ago. And what you see is that ICT specialists are the most employable, but they're also the least employable. The difference within the different kinds of ICT specialization is the biggest. It's not like health and welfare, which you can see is you're likely to be employed no matter what you do. So just to show, it's not an easy make everybody a Python programmer and we'll be happy. And if we look at research, Europe is actually doing pretty well. We were talking about technological sovereignty before. If you look at published articles, Europe is steadily producing about a third of global output on artificial intelligence. And I focus very much on artificial intelligence here because there's so much data, so much discussion around it. And you can see China is, of course, publishing much, much more than it did before. But it's the US that has less. I have to say, if you look at open access articles, this is a little bit different, but generally, Europe does not need to be in panic about our scientific production. The issue is that when you look at the uptake of these technologies and all this research, you can see that even technologies that we have and that we had for a long time are not being really used. Yes, we all have broadband, as you can see here, it's another OECD study. Many use social media, but something that's relatively simple, cloud computing. It's important to have things, particularly now when we're all working from home, that you have things on the cloud and we can share. Big data, what everybody talks about, very, very little uptake. So that's one of the issues, and I think that's one of the issues that both the Digital Euro program and EIT is looking at. So we're going to hear more about that, I'm sure. What can universities do to help this uptake? Well, first, graduates that know about new technologies can go out and say, hey, why don't we do things differently? There's actually this tool that we can use, and it will make us much more efficient. Technology transfer, universities have done that for a very long time, and have these tech transfer offices where you have professionals that are intermediaries between the researchers and the companies. And then, of course, this very dynamic scene of startups and spin-outs that come out and are part of the local ecosystem and deliver services that way. So universities play a very important role on several aspects of technology uptake. I think that's an important point. There's one challenge that's really big. All this technology development that is so important for society and a big political priority is led by white men. And you can see some of the figures there. I don't think they move much. I think we're still about 80%, so only 1 in 5 of ICT students are female. Innovation is even worse. There is a lot of discrimination. It's a societal problem, and that does start at universities. There's also the data challenge, particularly with open science, which we worked a lot about in EUA. How can we make it fair, findable, accessible, interoperational, and reusable? And how do we make sure that people have the right skills to do that, to store it, to have the procedures in place? And that is often led by universities that actually provide the data. And we have this Fair project, which I believe just came out with some very interesting results from a survey. So if you go on the EUA website, you can see that. So just to sum up, big challenges for Europe, big challenges for universities. We have the skills challenge, which is probably much more complex than just a skills gap. Uptake of technology, being sure that this does actually work for all, and we have diversity of our specialists. How do we manage data? And I'm sure much, much more. So how can we move forward? This is probably what we're going to discuss for the rest of the webinar. So I'll just say thanks from here. And we'll just move seamlessly to David Oliva. If you can just move there. Okay, please, David, go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I hope that you can hear me now. Thomas, can you confirm that you can hear me? It's okay, my voice? Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Perfect then. Okay, so thanks again. Sorry for just testing the technological situation of the platform. My name is David Oliva Uribe. I work at EIT Digital. EIT Digital, how I will be explaining, is a knowledge innovation community from the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. For me, it's a pleasure to be here, especially with the EUA community, which I used to belong. And well, I would like to introduce today some of the actions and activities that we are doing at the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, in particular, what we are doing at the KIC Digital to strengthen the parts of skills and the part of uptake in the technology. I think the presentation of Thomas was very concrete in those topics that we have to really be discussing now. In particular, I will focus more on the skill sides in the uptake in the technology. Of course, for the EIT, it's of great importance to have gender balance, to have diversity, to also to to respond to the social challenges, to make innovation with social impact. So this is part of the main challenges that we have at the EIT. Just let me briefly introduce what is the EIT for those who are not so familiar to them. The European Institute of Innovation and Technology is what is called an independent EU body that was created in 2008 by the European Commission. And the main aim is to strengthen Europe's ability to innovate. Well, the EIT is integral part of Horizon 2020. That's where our budget comes from. And it will be part of the Pillar 3 on Horizon Europe, together with the European Innovation Council. The EIT has created several communities, how we call the KICs, Knowledge Innovation Communities. They are dedicated to tackling one specific global challenge. As a complete ecosystem, EIT gathers more than 1,000 partners, meaning that it's the largest innovation community in Europe. And currently, we have 8 innovation communities, which each of them is focused on the different societal challenge. So we'll just go very quickly. So we have on climate, on digital technologies, on food, on health, in energy, that is pioneering the change in sustainable energy. This is very interesting what they're doing. In manufacturing, which is one of our new in knowledge innovation communities, raw materials, and urban mobility, who is working especially on smart, green, and integrated transport. So all these communities has a similar way to work regarding the innovation side and the education side. So we tackle two parts. So how to uptake technology and how also to provide skills and competences through an ecosystem that is formed by partners. So our main model of innovation is supported by the knowledge innovation triangle. And this is a key that we can work in every single part, especially in digital transformation, where business, research, and higher educations are the main components or the main players. So what we try to do is to provide a systemic approach to innovation and to provide a strong pan-European platform to accelerate innovation, covering the entire value chain from education to the market. So one important part here is that our partners contribute to the innovation process by working together across the knowledge triangle. So they are with the aim of bringing new products, services, business models, business itself, and educational offering into the market. So in relationship, for example, between what is the business side and the research institution, well, here new knowledge is the source of innovation, and of course, the business opportunities open doors to new research avenues. When we see the relationship between research and technology, research and education. So new knowledge, of course, improves research. New knowledge improves education, but the skills and competences that the higher education institutions are fostering has a direct impact in the outcomes of quality of the research and development activities. And talking one very important issue is university business collaboration is a key element. Skills in that side that are provided by the universities are the key to boost innovation, and business and market knowledge are important to the universities to generate new educational programs. So basically in this knowledge triangle, what we want to do, for example, is that research can be conducted through cooperative partnership between public research organizations, higher education institutions, large corporations, and of course SMEs. So learning programs that we are thinking about can be delivered by education institutions, but in partnership with business. And we try to develop new products and services, and all the actors playing a unique role. Where, as I'm just mentioning, this largest innovation community, so one of the main aims that drive us is to make innovation happen. So we have at the moment, say, more than 1,000 partners. So there are a lot of universities, many universities you will identify later that are members of EUA. We have almost 1,000 companies, including SMEs. We have also cities, municipalities, regions working NGOs and research centers across Europe. As I mentioned, the EIT focus on two main activities: uptaking the technology to make innovation happen, but also to work on the education side. As a general perspective for the EIT, we work in different fields. So we shape with our partners new master and doctoral programs. Also, we work on continuous postdoctoral and lifelong learning courses. We work quite a lot on providing lifelong learning, of course, through executive and professional developments. We work quite a lot on our online educational platform. And we try that this is disseminated through the society, through our alumni and other outreach activities that we are promoting. So one important element is that we try that every action in the knowledge innovation communities, including what is the digital one, is that we have a quality seal, a way that we can assure that we are doing the activities that can provide and foster these competences and skills. So we have at the level of the EIT something that it's called the EIT label. It's an initiative that has been conducted for several years, where every KIC, if they want to provide an education program in partnership with universities and companies, for example, they have to submit an application where it is shown how the full learning outcomes and full combination of activities has the right elements to provide what we want to foster. So including this is that it should have a specific innovation and entrepreneurship activities, that is robust entrepreneurship education, that is quite hands-on or learning by doing activities, that we foster the intersectoral exchange and experience of the students. So they should focus on industry and business challenges, of course, that there is international and trans-organizational mobility, and there is direct access through the activities that are in the KIC and cross KICs, and of course that we are building a strong community. So here is just a brief example of the universities that are participating. So are around 250 universities, and we are very happy to have them. And I can see and I can identify that many of them, they are part of the EUA community. Just let me now to focus on what we are doing at the level of the EIT Digital in this knowledge innovation community that we are in charge of strengthening digital innovation and digital transformation. So one of the important points that Thomas addressed is, yes, we are strong in research, but we are far beyond to be the leader in digital innovation. There are other regions and countries that are really ahead of us. And this is because we still have not been able to have the complete synergies to uptake what we are generating, the knowledge that we are generating, and place it into innovation outcomes. So we also understand that digital technologies open a new door to boost innovation and entrepreneurship. And this is because the business side in digital technologies is really different from what it has been other sectors. It is evoluting. The evolution is very fast, is very dynamic, is very aggressive. So the market solutions are changing very quickly. The new technological innovation need to be introduced faster. So that means that we don't have any more 5, 6, 10 years to introduce a new product in the market. So actually now, mostly every year, you should have a new solution. But these solutions are not changing in color, changing in model. It's really based on the capability to provide you a more intelligent service, a more friendly way to use it. So the solutions are really research-based solutions. We are leading the market. And the market is changing now to deep tech solutions. So what is deep tech solutions? But basically those technologies that Thomas was stating before: artificial intelligence, cloud computing, quantum computing, advanced analytics, big data. So all these solutions really demands professionals that has deep knowledge, but they need to generate, they need to develop competence and skills that can help them to uptake this technology into the market soon. So for EIT Digital, what we see is that the market is changing, the business rules are changing, the jobs are actually changing. If you see the OCDE jobs for the future, you can see how many jobs are being created now that they are not existing, that are not sometimes even compatible to the academic programs that we have. So what is actually urgent to change? What at the level of EIT Digital, we think is the talent that we have to shape, that we have to prepare the talent for this new era of digital transformations. So in EIT Digital, we have two big areas. One is the innovation factory, and the other one is our EIT Digital Entrepreneurial Academy. This is formed by 4 schools: our master school, our doctoral school, the professional school, and the summer school. So basically what we try to focus here is that in the new era of digital transformation, talent should have developed competence and skills for leadership, to be prepared to be disruptive, business oriented, and it should have a strong digital technical expertise and the ability to be transformative. All our programs are designed on an educational model of T. So that means that has to be broad with ability to work outside the core area and very deep in the knowledge that they are generating. So in general terms, we focus on innovation for our competence and skills. We are driven by the market needs and what we see that is needing for Europe. We work on challenges, so we are also work cross-kick to contribute with social challenges, to have innovation with a social impact, and all our education models are based on blended learning. Just to present very quickly, here are information on our schools and programs. In the case of the industrial, in the case of the doctoral school, is really to foster university business collaboration. So we are mostly on the industrial research-based innovation. In the terms of master school, we are really advocate to work into a program to generate new professionals that will be managing innovation changes, and they have a very international competences. In our professional school, we basically focus to work with the companies to generate the solutions they need for the professionals that are already participating in the business, and with the changing through or due to digital transformation, they need to upskill. So, and we have a very interesting program that is called the Summer Schools, where we focus on challenges. So we go to all our partners, industrial partners, that in case of EIT Digital, we have more than 200 partners. We ask the companies to tell us what are their challenges in digital technologies, in digital transformation, and we work with young professionals to solve them. So this is a very interactive way that we can also generate hands-on learning, learning by doing learning, but also that the companies get the benefit by the outcomes of this. In the case of the master school, I just show an example because we are really focusing on those topics that are leading the needs of the markets and the needs of society. So we are focusing on autonomous system and cloud and network infrastructure, in cybersecurity, in data science, embedded system, in human interaction and design, computer program. But one of the interesting things here is that we decide to have a unique scheme. And this is developed, again, with our partner universities. This is something that we do in the ecosystem. So just in comparison with the classic university track, that we can have for the master program, what we do is to have in the EIT master school. So at the beginning of the program, every single student has to contribute in teams to solve some business challenges. So this is an inspiration for them to learn, to have deep technological knowledge, but also to develop these business, entrepreneurial skills, communication skills that are very necessary. It's an international program because they have one university for entry, one university for exit. At the middle of the program, they have a 2-week summer school where they are focusing again on solving company challenges, and they have to do a thesis, of course, an industrial internship, and this gives the possibility to assure the development of these competence and skills. Well, in the case of the industrial doctorate school, we work with our partner universities. We don't really modify, or we don't ask them to modify the PhD program, but we work in a different way. So we ask the companies to have a relevant role to promote their challenges and the needs they have for innovation that can be solved with research-based topics. We try to attract the students that they want to do research, but they want to participate with companies, they want to work in industrial environments, and we provide the elements of what we refer in the past, what it's called the label. In the case of the PhD label, we have 3 sets of activities. First, we assure international experience, so we foster and we finance this international job mobility. And we assure that there is complete training for the competence and skills on innovation and entrepreneurship seminars. And we have embedded in the time that the student is passing in the industry, certain time has to be used so the students can develop this business model of experience. So they should learn on the business side of the company, on the social side of the company, depending on the business interest. This is how we see our labels. So we try to promote a different type of skills. So in terms of general skills, we are mostly going for a general innovation and entrepreneurship skills. So a researcher, for example, or a master's student really can have these skills that help them to create products, to understand how to identify needs, to really work on model and new business models, that they can organize and manage digital innovation, to integrate values. This is very important. So how to integrate values into business decisions, because it's really relevant that they are aware of the global challenges and how this has to be incorporated into the way they are doing innovation in digital technologies. In terms of soft skills, we follow the general trend, of course, that they have communication skills, collaborative skills, and especially we try to focus on leadership and decision-making skills. Why? Because we want to combine this general part of innovation and entrepreneurship skills to the digital transformation side. In the digital transformation side, we identify 2 areas. One, that is the current trend, that is deep tech innovation, where we want them, that the young professionals, the young students, should be able to assess the value of research for innovation. So what can be how they can make a valorization of what they're doing, and if it is feasible, to put it into an innovation outcome, to exploit the technology, to understand the market, to really see how is the process for the maturity of the technological maturity. And very relevant for us is that they understand how Europe works. There is a complete leverage on understanding on the innovation support instruments. So how they can use the normal instruments through the local funding, through regional funding, to European funding, cross sector funding. And this is very, very important for us, for them to understand. And in case of digital transformation skills, what we want is that they should also be leading the digital transformation, not only following. So we need them to develop a vision. They understand what is there and where it can go and how we can lead that change. That they can deal with new success factors. So what is happening now? How is the new needs of the market, the customer experience, and they can contribute to organization's change management. So this is for us one of the core points on the education side. And this again is work together with our partner universities. So these outcomes, so what we want to do is to bring to Europe an entrepreneurial researcher, innovator, and professional with the ability to become a digital transformation leader. So how to explore innovation, how to valorize research, how to understand business modeling, how to really work with the organizations to do strategic challenges, and how to make strategies to deal with those challenges. How also to understand the difference between intra and entrepreneurial innovation. And in the case of digital transformation leaders, so how they are going to master a technological area, but without being very narrow in their vision. So how they can build the vision, how they are able to communicate that vision, and to be able to orient, influence, and lead people to have a new transformation in the different sectors. At current for EIT Digital, I just placed an example. These are some of the companies that are working together with us and some of the universities that are working. So it's a rich ecosystem that we have. We work together in this knowledge innovation triangle. We tried the collaboration between all the partners, the academic partner, the industrial partner, the student per se, that there is a complete integration, and this take place in our collocation centers in the ecosystems that we are generating. So I thank a lot for the opportunity to talk, and I will pass now the floor to Sylvia, I think.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you, David, for passing me the floor, and thank you, Thomas, for inviting me. So what I will try to do today is to give you a bit of overview of what is the political context in which the Digital Euro program, this new instrument, has been developed, and then we will go a little bit into the details of what we currently foresee for the Digital Euro program. So the idea in our unit, I work DG Connect in the unit which deals with the digital economy and skills. And what we do every year is to draft a report which is called Digital Economy and Society Index. This gives us the analysis on how member states are progressing in integrating digital technologies in their economy, private and public sector. One of these dimensions is also the human capital dimension. So meaning we want to know how member states are performing, how people are performing in terms of digital skills. These are a bit the data that we have been gathering. So what we see is that there is a general lack of digital skills across Europe and across member states at different levels. So we try to understand what is that we're missing. We are missing, for example, digital specialists. We are missing ICT specialists. Thomas was already mentioning it before. These are crucial professions in order to enable the deployment of digital technology in the society. 53% of EU companies are experiencing difficulties when they're trying to hire these kind of professions. And almost all member states are facing shortages of ICT and STEM professionals. On the other side, we see that the ICT specialists account for more and more portion of employment in the labor market, 3.7, and when we look at the female employment, this is reaches only 1.4%, and again the number of graduates. So this is a bit the general snapshot of where we are in terms of digital skills in Europe. You might have heard a bit 1 month ago, where the EU came up with a new digital strategy, a digital packet actually, including different communications. One is the data strategy and the AI white paper. In the digital strategy, one of the three key pillars is a technology that works for people. So this is the idea. We need to get back to our technological sovereignty, but we need a technology that respect EU values and the EU approach. So we need to invest as a first pillar in digital competencies for all Europeans. Then we need to protect people from cyber threats. We need to ensure that artificial intelligence development are ethical and respect the EU values. Then we need to accelerate the EU rollout of ultra-fast broadband for homes, schools, and hospitals, and expand the supercomputing capacity. So these are the key pillars of this digital strategy. Another piece of information that I want to give you before going to the description of the program is that the artificial intelligence action plan. Here, member states, they agreed. This was already more than 1 year ago, and it's a coordinated plan on how to best deploy artificial intelligence in the EU. One of the sections of this plan is entirely dedicated to how to attract, train, retrain talents in the EU. And in this framework, member states have agreed to include the skills dimension in their national strategies that they are currently developing. This means also to include artificial intelligence skills and related skills, of course, such as computational thinking in their curricula, so in the whole education system. At the same time, the Commission has committed, with the agreement of the member state, to explore ways in order to support member states in this effort and understand how AI can be included in tertiary education and how new master programs can be supported. So now we come to the money, to the funding. We have this policy in place. We need also EU investment to support it and roll it out in the member state. How the digital funding is articulated in the budget, in the proposal of the budget 2021-27. You know that there is still no agreement on the general numbers. We're still waiting for the agreement of the member state on the Commission proposal. But the idea is that capacities throughout the EU needs to be strengthened. We have a lot of the basis already for what we need for Europe to achieve a successful digital transformation. Well, we need to boost it even further. And one of the principles is to boost the EU digital talent pool. As I was saying before, now we are in a situation where member state companies cannot find the digital specialists who are able to deploy, use, and roll out the technology in private businesses, but also in the public sector. So this needs to change. The dedicated instrument we have put forward in order to address these challenges is the Digital Europe program. The main idea is to indeed reinforce digital capacities while ensuring that they are best used across the economy. It has 5 main pillars with a total proposed budget of 9.2 billion, which we really hope it will be maintained by the member states. The biggest slice is to fund high-performance computing, meaning procuring the fastest supercomputers in the world. Then we have funding for artificial intelligence, meaning to fund new data sets that can be used for running new machine learning algorithms in the economy, some of them specific by sectors, and that can be widely used by companies. Then we have 2 billion for cybersecurity and trusts, 1.3 billion for digital transformation and interoperability of public and private services. Within this chapter, this pillar, there will also be funding for the digital innovation hubs. And then we have 700 million dedicated to advanced digital skills. What is the reason why we thought it was needed to have a dedicated budget, even though small compared to the total size of the program, for these kind of actions? The idea is that we cannot invest massively in technology if we do not have the human capacities to use them, deploy them, and develop them. This is the reason why we decided to accompany the investment in hardware and technology with the investment in training and learning opportunities. In order to understand how to best feature this investment, we try to have a snapshot of what is the current offer of specialized education in technologies such as high-performance computing, HPC, and cybersecurity. Here you have a very rough snapshot. We asked the Joint Research Center to give us an idea of how these courses are distributed in the EU and which kind of institutions are delivering them. Of course, these are, for the major part, universities. We see that the highest number of courses is delivered at master level when it's specialized in AI, HPC, or cyber, and you can see that the regional differences are pretty heavy. On the one side, you have the number of courses. On the other side, you have the estimated capacity of how many students these courses can have, and there the picture changes a bit. We will use the network that are already established in the EU in order to help what David was mentioning, this knowledge triangle, to help the transfer between of knowledge between the technological center, the digital excellence centers in the different areas. These are in the slides you see some examples of cooperation which is already happening on the ground in the three main technologies that the Digital Europe program will address. There are artificial excellence centers which are being developed and are being awarded Horizon 2020 call at the moment. Results will be available soon. Then the joint undertaking EuroHPC will support 8 high-performance computing centers throughout the EU. This has already been awarded. And the cybersecurity skills as well. There are 63 million to support the development of these ecosystems. So starting from this point, what are actually the actions that we envisage to support with the Digital Europe program? So we envisage 3 types of actions. One is dedicated master program. So going back to the slides I showed before, to increase the number of courses in all EU member states of master programs that are specialized and are likely to develop the digital talents in the EU, in particular in artificial intelligence, high performance computing, and cybersecurity. In order to address the upskilling of the workforce. So people who are already in the workforce, they already have maybe an engineering degree, but they need to update the skills. They need to take a short-term training course in order to make their skills even more relevant to the latest development in technology. We devised this short-term training. They also need to be elaborated and developed by consortia of different entities, including the Excellence Center, in order to reflect the latest development of technology. Finally, the job placement. What we would like to do is every time we have an excellence center in HPC, AI, or cyber, that people can go and learn how to use the latest technologies by spending a period of time of 6 months in order to learn the latest stage of technology on site, so on the job placement. So what I think could be extremely relevant for universities to know is that we really count on the participation of universities in this kind of actions. As I said, the budget is not yet foreseen, but what we are already thinking about how to implement these actions. So the idea is to have EU consortia of tertiary education institutions with digital excellence centers and relevant industry who design and develop and deliver the master programs and courses in digital technologies. In this ecosystem, we envisage also the cooperation with what we call in different ways, according to the technology, to the competence centers and digital innovation hubs, who are also a very important player in the ecosystem. So to understand a little bit better how to do this in practice, we went for a pilot call already this year. The call is open now. It is open until the 12th of May. It's financed by a different fund, which is called Connect Europe Facility. And the idea is to finance 2 pilot master programs. One is a master program really highly specialized in artificial intelligence. The idea is to also liaise with the ecosystem of excellence centers in artificial intelligence, which is developed under Horizon 2020, and deliver this very highly specialized master course. The other project we aim for is a master programs on the use of artificial intelligence in a specific sector. So in this case, applications are open for all kinds of master courses that can teach students who are actually learning to become professionals in another domain. I can think, for example, of the health sector, but not necessarily only this. And they need to understand how to use big data, how to interpret the algorithms to make a specific diagnosis. So this is the two deliverables we're aiming for. The total budget is 6.5 million. And there is a co-financing of 75%. You will find all information on the site. I put the link on under the pilot call, so you can easily look for it. Finally, just to give you an overview of what is envisaged in the package of the EU budget 2021-2077 for digital skills. Of course, the Digital Euro program that I just mentioned. Then there is a reinforced dimension of support for digital skills in the European Social Fund Plus. This is a shared management fund, so it's not managed directly by the European Union. It's co-designed with the member state, but then it's the member state and regions issuing the dedicated call for proposals. Then, of course, you all know very well the Erasmus program. Also there, the digital dimension will be reinforced. There will be many synergies between the actions of the Digital European program, the Digital Euro program, which address a very niche market, if you want, because these three disciplines, the three technologies that I've been mentioning all along the presentation, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and HPC, are only a fraction of all the disciplines that university deals with. Then, of course, the Horizon Europe program, where the EIT is financed, and you also know the Marie Curie scholarships. Then there are instruments outside the main budget, which are the European Globalization and Adjustment Fund, which foresee a component of retraining compulsory in digital skills for laid-off workers, and the InvestEU, which is a financial instrument where also financing for digital skills is possible. I will conclude with this one, and thank you for your attention.
So thank you very much, Sylvia. Thank you very much, David. I think it was overwhelming amount of information, both of a program that has run for quite some time, but is still dealing with some challenges. I found it interesting to hear about the values, about the speed of innovation with the EIT, and then trying out something completely new with the Digital Europe program, and see what you say about the talent base. We can have all the knowledge and technologies we need, but if we don't have the people that can use it, then we're just as far. I'll try to close the poll here on the side. This is a little bit difficult. This is it. Maybe take support. Can do it. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so if Ines, if you would close the poll, if that's possible, if it worked. I think we have to live without the poll. Okay, sorry about that. This is what happens when you can't sit next to each other and somebody like me is trying to be technician. But we already have some questions from the audience, and you're very welcome to comment some questions on the chat. We'll take them up and I'll just present them to the speakers. So one question that was partly answered, but I think merits quite a lot of attention, is how is Digital Europe, and here's the question also about the Connect Europe facility. How is that connected to the other programs? What are the synergies that end users can benefit from here? I know there is a Connect Europe call for master's programs at the moment. Is that right, Sylvia?
Yeah, this is right. Of course, you have also to consider the time frame. So Connect Europe facility runs now, whereas the Digital Europe program hasn't started yet. So the link with the Connect Europe facility is a fund that it's aimed at linking opportunities online for everyone in the EU. In this context, my unit has also launched a call for a networking of actors for digital skills. In this context, there will be an online platform where the master courses we're calling for this with this call will need to be advertised, showcased, and partially available. So this is the link. I know it can be a little bit difficult, but Connect Europe facility is a fund that has been running from 2014-2020. And then it will continue in 2021-2022, and part of this fund will be transferred to Digital Europe program. I don't know if this answered the questions.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that gave at least some more detail to it. Another question here is, how can businesses play a part? How can businesses take an active part in supporting digital policies?
Well, businesses play a very big part, in particular in these actions, because we have as a necessary requirement that businesses are part of the consortia applying for the EU support. So every master course in the Digital Europe program, but already in this pilot call, consortia need to include at least 2 SMEs for the delivery of the master course. So any SME or even bigger company who wants to be part of this is welcome to make contact with the universities who are the coordinators and apply for this funding.
And then there's I think there's a question coming in here for both of you. Is there a website for networking around digital skills where people can meet each other?
Yes, we are building the Digital Skills and Jobs platform. The Digital Skills and Jobs is coalition has been live for since 2016, and now we are building the digital infrastructure around it. For the moment, we only have our Commission website. I know this is not the most friendly and user-friendly website ever, but we are working on it. We hope that this new and boosted version of the website will be online in 3 months. In this website, there will be a private conversation tool and also an open one. So I really invite you to Google Digital Skills and Jobs and you will coalition in Europa website, and you will find it.
Okay, this is a question I think for both of you, because both of you mentioned things like this, the values. Where's the reference to human-centered artificial intelligence? Maybe you kick off, David, and Sylvia afterwards.
Well, maybe just responding on in the case of EIT Digital. Well, we don't have a specific website for this networking of digital skills, but you're welcome to contact us, and we are very pleased to put you in contact with our INE coordinator, who is coordinating actions with 15 European universities, and we have a complete set of documents, and we have many things that we can share, and also, well, when the situation of the COVID-19 is lowering down, of course, we will be very happy to receive you in our co-location centers where we have different activities. Also, we will be having actions in the future for train the trainers. So I think we will be having more interactive opportunities online and also face-to-face.
Yeah, and the human-centered AI, you mentioned values. So making artificial intelligence human-centered.
Yeah, so in the side of EIT Digital, one of the big topics is artificial intelligence, of course. We are managing from the side of the master school and the industrial doctoral school. So what we are doing is to gather the professionals to discuss on how values has to take a role, not only on the topic of artificial intelligence, but in general on digital transformation. So this is our main discussion. So digital transformation is something that is happening, but it's still at the tip of the iceberg. So decisions in many sectors has not been passed to the digital sector. So this is also part of the next conversations that we will have in our annual conference and other events that we will be tackling. But our groups are discussing on, especially on the values, since the innovation that we have to drive in digital transformation differs a little bit from the innovation that is driven in other places. Well, still at the level of Europe, we are concerned about values, we are concerned about impact in society, and that these digital technologies have a real benefit on certain challenges and needs of the well-being of society.
And Sylvia, human-centered AI, that I think is a term that maybe even was invented around DG Connect where you work. And how are we training? How are we trying to train our talent for human-centered AI?
Yeah, so in the policy aspect, human-centered AI is one of the key item in the list I showed about the digital policy, and how this translates in the financing is that we have put a condition for all the master programs to be delivered to include a module and a part of the course on the ethical guidelines that have been published by the Commission early last year. So this is a compulsory element that we ask to all master courses to include.
Very good. I think we hit an hour here, so we will stop it. But it's of course not the end of the conversation at all. As David says, this is the tip of the iceberg we're seeing in the digital transformation, and we need to talk much more about this in the future. I'd like to say thank you very much to both of the speakers. It's been great. I can see people say thanks a lot as well on the side. We from EUA will be in touch with you. You'll be able to have the slides. We might send you some documents. You can always go and look at our websites about what we have. The same, of course, goes for the EIT and as Sylvia said, for the European Commission. We hope to continue this conversation with you in the future. If you liked the webinar, if you like what we do, you have a look at our newsletter. That's the one-stop shop for EUA activities. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we hope to see you soon. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay home, whatnot, and bye from here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.